So, the beginning of this year, when I got started with recreating content and shooting content for this channel, as well as helping some of my friends create content, I got asked a lot of questions by people about how to get started with content creation. What should I be using? What kind of equipment should I buy? What kind of apps do you use to be able to edit content? So, I'm creating a series. So we're going to dive into kind of some of the things to consider, some of the things maybe to consider investing in when getting started with your content creation journey. So this is how to get started as a content creator. This episode, we're going to focus on some of the best gear to purchase, invest in, or maybe you already have to be able to use to get started with this. So we'll talk about some of the gear that I use. There'll be links down below to some of the stuff that I use. So that way, if you want to go ahead and purchase it for yourself, you can. They are affiliate links, so please note that they do support this channel and this cause. In my opinion, the first thing that we need to do is figure out a way to capture content, and that's with a camera. Now, I use an iPhone, and in my opinion, the best camera that you can use is the one that you have, whether it's an iPhone, whether you want to use an iPad, maybe you have an older camera, you want to use what you have now so that way you're not having to go and spend thousands of dollars or maybe over $500 to be able to buy a camera when you don't even know if this is something that you want to continue doing. So I would recommend getting started with the camera that you have, and for most people, that's the camera that's in their pocket. So I use an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I'm using an app, which I'll talk about in the next episode, be able to help capture this, be able to set the settings correctly so that way everything looks crispy and nice. But I also have a lot of other equipment that help me maybe capture audio or get better lighting, and that really helps bring out the most in this camera. Of course, there's also a bunch of other lenses on this camera that I could use for zooming or to try and get better B-roll and things like that because I create a lot of tech content. But trying to get the most out of your camera really comes down to making sure that you have really good lighting. So also making sure that you have really good setting that you're filming in, whether you want to film near a window and have natural light come in, or you're investing in a light source to be able to light up your video. That's going to be key, helping you maximize and getting the most out of a camera and making it look more expensive than you actually spent. Honestly, when you think about it, Apple spent a lot in production with their recent October event, but they were able to maximize the iPhone 15 Pro Max's camera because of that investment inside of all of the other stuff around it. Now, I'm not saying go and spend thousands of dollars on lighting and audio equipment, but I am saying that you can really get a lot out of your smartphone's camera by having a lot of the right settings around. Another thing, if you want to be able to use maybe like an iPad, maybe you have an iPad with a great camera, you want to be able to maximize that, you could do that. I'm all about the iPad life. And if you guys don't know, this shirt is made by me. So this is a custom design shirt, and you can check it in the link below in my merch store. You can really get the most out of it. Couple of things a lot of people ask me are settings. So if you're low on storage, film everything in 1080p. You're still going to get great settings. YouTube compresses a lot of video anyway. And if you're doing a lot of short form content, a lot of those places don't even allow you to do 4K uploads. Anyway, so shooting in 1080p is going to work, and then creating your content and then maybe editing on your phone or on an iPad or on a computer is up to you on how you want to do that. I shoot everything in 4K. I have a pretty decent storage size iPhone. I can shoot everything in 4K, record it, and then edit it where I need to on my iPad or on my Mac. Being able to shoot in either one of those, I usually shoot everything in 30 frames per second. It's really kind of your preference thing. I don't usually recommend shooting A-roll like this. A-roll is basically a talking shot where you just have the person talking to camera. I don't shoot A-roll in 60 frames per second. Maybe you shoot something else in 60, but I usually shoot everything in 30. But that's kind of your own preference, and you'll find the settings that you want to dial in. The other thing I recommend with your camera, shoot everything with the rear facing camera on your phone, because you're going to get the best looking content out of the back camera. Even though it's easy and you could see what you're looking at if you're using the front facing camera, set up your shot and really trust that when you hit record in your setup that everything looks good. If you need to reshoot, you reshoot and things like that, but always use the rear facing camera. It's always going to be the best camera that you have on your phone. And that's what I would recommend to get started. If you want to consider investing into a camera, some of the best brands out there, Canon, Sony, I would probably jump into the Sony mix. But right now, using my iPhone really gets the job done. So that's the camera that I would recommend is what you have. And really the other things that we add around it are what gonna allow us to get the most out of that camera. Next up, it's what the phone is being held on right now, which is a tripod. Now, I'm not saying go and invest in a really expensive tripod. Honestly, the one that this phone is standing on right now, it was only about $20 for me. And one of the reasons why I like it is because it is very portable. It can stand really tall, so it's able to get this shot, or even if I was standing, it's able to get that shot too. But it's also super compact and easy for me to bring with me. So I've been able to travel with it, and that makes it really easy to be able to just use when I need to. And it's really good also monopod to be able to hold if you want to get a steady shot of something, if you're trying to get really cool B-roll of something. But for the most part, invest in a tripod that works for you. You need a phone holder. A lot of tripods that you'll find on Amazon will be able to come with the phone holder, so be able to grip your phone on there. But honestly, don't overinvest in a tripod. I'll link the one that I use down below and maybe a couple other suggestions. Honestly, like I've learned, there's a lot of tripod options out there, and it really just depends on your scenario. If most of what you're going to be doing with your content is just shooting A-roll like this, talking head content, just get something basic. It'll get the job done. It's always going to sit in one place and you're not going to have to worry about it. Next up on the list is really having good lighting. Like I said, one of the easiest ways to get started with this content creation game is to use natural light. So if you position yourself near a window and shoot during the daytime, you'll be able to get a lot of natural light coming in. There's a little bit of natural light coming in on this shot, but because of how dim this room is and because of the dark paint of this room, I have to bring in another light to be able to fill in the room. And I also have a light pointed at the ceiling to be able to get in more fill so you can see more of the background behind me. But what I started with were very simple lights when I got started with this channel. The biggest thing is you want to try and stay away from harsh lights on your face, especially if all you're doing with your content creation is talking to camera. You want to make sure that you have a softbox or something that's going to filter the light enough to make it softer on your face, like you can see here. You can see that there's not a kind of glare on my face that's showing like oil and things like that on my face. It's really softened on my face. And the way that I have the light position is it's literally up high, position at about a 45-degree angle. And what I've learned is you want to try and create like a dark triangle on the face, on the other side of your face. I may not always do that perfectly, but I always try to get that light positioned as best as I can. And these lights honestly cost me less than 60 bucks. I got a 2-pack of them and they came with a carrying case, and I'll link those again down below, but they really help with just getting started. A lot of people also use ring lights. Ring lights, I don't like always having a dead on light in the center, but if you need to, you can. Another thing you could do is they have really small portable lights, and I've used those for if I needed to get a shot where lighting was poor, but I'm also on the go. They have really portable lights that you can mount to almost anything. You can mount it to the tripod that you're using to be able to get that fill light, or you can mount it like behind you or something to add more ambience light. I also have lights with filters to be able to add kind of different background colors. Right now, I use just death lights to be able to do that same mix, but I've done in the past where, I've had background lights that kind of add color to my background as well. So just creating more of a different vibe in your video. And the other thing is messing with color temperature and different colors. You want to make sure that what I've learned is creating something appealing by adding in different color elements as well to your background. But honestly, getting started with just a basic light, even if it's just a single light, you're not lighting the background. Getting started with a single light that's just shining on your face will help you be able to get the most out of the camera that you're in, because one, the camera is really capturing light as it comes in, and the more light we give it, the better the image is going to look. So this video could look really crispy, but if I were to turn off the light, it probably wouldn't look as good. Even though the iPhone can handle low light, you'll be able to get, even out of an older iPhone, you'll be able to get the most out of it by using, again, a really good light and the main back camera on your phone. The last thing that I would consider is a really good audio setup, because 50% of this video is audio. And honestly, if this video sounded terrible, you probably wouldn't want to watch it. That's a big thing to know, is getting your audio correct is really key. Now, the way that I'm doing it is I'm using a USB microphone. So this is a computer like podcasting microphone that I purchased to be able to do podcasts inside of here. It's hooked up into a adapter on my iPhone to hook up USB so it can record directly into it. And then I also have a charging cable powering to charge the iPhone, so that way it's powering this equipment. Now, a lot of people would say, wait a second, I thought you really needed like an iPhone 15 to get that kind of stuff done because of the USB-C. And honestly, I'm proving that wrong by recording this video with this audio. Some people will use a separate audio mic, like a microphone that uses an SLR connection, and then plug it into like a computer or into an iPad or something to be able to record the audio. I like being able to have the audio directly recorded to the same video that I'm recording, which means that I don't have to do any kind of editing of audio after the fact, other than maybe cleaning up some of the audio after. Overall, this is a really simple setup for me. I can link, again, this mic, the adapter, and what you would need to do the setup. However, a much easier setup, in my opinion, and when I invested in them, I thought that it was going to be a bad investment because of the mixed reviews. But honestly, in my opinion, they've really blown me away. They're wireless lavalier mics that hook up to your phone's charging point. So whether you have a USB-C phone or you have a Lightning iPhone, you know, it's a wireless mic that you can clip to you. And I'll do a test sample so you can guys hear what that sounds like in this video. This is an audio test with one of these wireless lavalier mics, like you can see it clipped here. But as you know, some people on the internet also will take this off and just hold it like this. So this is what it sounds like either way. And like I said, it's really convenient, really easy. Comes with a charging case, and it just makes it really easy to start recording and get really good audio. Honestly, they have blown me away, and I've used them for recording for work events. I've used them for recording when I'm out in public spaces, and then I use editing to kind of clear up the audio. They capture audio really crystal clear, and I'm surprised at the sound quality you can get out of them. I've even recorded a whole podcast episode of my podcast, the Tech Explained podcast, using two of those mics, because the one that I got has two mics. So that way, if I wanted to record myself and a guest, or I'm recording two different people inside of a video, I can record both of their audio at the same time without having to have separate audio tracks, which really, again, it helps with the editing process. You'll thank me later for that, but investing in something simple as that, in my opinion, again, the one that I got was about $20 on Amazon. It's going to be linked down below. But I would recommend getting started with something like that. That will help elevate your audio game, because even though you could unplug this, so we could unplug this audio now and just record the audio on my iPhone. The big thing is that we're going to get a lot of background artifacts and background noise. And in my opinion, that really takes away from what you're trying to do with your content and really distracts the audience. And in my opinion, that's not the best way to go about it. So I would recommend recording with a microphone, whether it be something, and you want to try and get it as close to you as possible. I know this is a lot to take in, and hopefully you took some notes, but you can always rewatch this video if you need to. But again, all of this combined is going to help you elevate your content to the next level and help you get started, hopefully next year, with creating content or whenever you're ready to take that leap. But if you like this video, feel free to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so that way you'll know when the next video in this series comes out. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.